What time is it? Um, 10:51. Does anyone really truly know? I mean, I guess time is kind of a very strange construct. I don't know. Of course they don't. Nobody knows anything. You and I don't know each other. We're like strangers. Yeah, you're right. Sure, I've adjusted all of the game settings to your exact specifications, but who hasn't? It's just what I do, like a day job. And now, the job is over. It's over? There's no more information for me to gather. I've collected all the data on you that I can. And I still don't really know you. Well, does anybody really know anybody? I mean, and you don't know me. Well, you're right about that. And neither of us know what time it is. I I just looked at the time. It's 10:52 right now. I guess some settings are just unsettable. That's not a word. But if I'm being totally honest, the clock doesn't do anything in the game anyway. Okay. You won't have me here when the game starts next time, but that's okay. Video games were meant to be played alone. Not all video games. You like being alone, don't you? It has its perks, I guess. That's maybe the only information I really learned about you. Well, it's time for me to leave. There is still one more setting that we need to adjust, but it may take a little time before I'm ready for that. It's not really in my job description, but that's okay. Perhaps you'll see me again if you can find me. Talk soon. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is the Stanley Parable 2, formerly known as the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. And we are back in it. Let's continue.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Yeah. There's my keyboard. Still signs for the meeting, still little blue balloons out here.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
The computer screen. Oh, the rope's back. Alright, Bucket, you're with me.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Alright, we jumped through a few hurdles on the right. I'll go left this time. Oh, that's right. Okay. A large room, lots of boxes. Gotta look there. Some were both red and blue. So I'm only missing 2 of the bobblehead doll collectible thingies. Anyway, let's keep going.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Yeah, nothing changed in here. Right, that's the escape room.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
There we
But
go.
Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Wow. So dark.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Okay, but if I go back upstairs... You actually let me go back upstairs.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
Pressing the number 3 on the keypad. Is that a clue?
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Well, now I'm pressing the number 3, ironically, because you told me to come up here and press the number 3. Why would I not press the number 3? I don't know if anything actually happens, though. So... maybe nothing at all. Maybe I should have stood there a little bit longer. Okay.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
Maybe it didn't. But...
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel.
Exactly.
He smiled at the bucket. and the bucket said nothing.
All right. I mean, why not?
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing.
It doesn't
The
have to be
bucket
the number
conveyed
3.
absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
But did Stanley really turn to the elevator? I mean, let's be real. Okay. We will go back to the elevator.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
Maybe. I mean, come on.
"Ah," said Stanley. "I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart." He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work.
Hey.
For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
Oh, okay. Doesn't look like into stage 3. Okay. I see what you're doing here.
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
There's an excessive amount of 3s here.
There was no one here.
What?
Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over.
Oh, well, of
He was
course not.
unloved, uninteresting. He was a failure. And in that moment, Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference.
All over a
There would be
number.
no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends.
Oh
And
my
Stanley,
goodness.
having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the
Looks like I'm stuck
unremarkable
here.
normalcy of loneliness. All of his
Goofy ending
co-workers
is
were
goofy.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, the rope's gone. Only one input received. Okay.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket, off on another thrilling adventure together.
Exactly.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Well, shoot, now I'm curious. Let me go on the right this time.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but
Of course
Stanley
not.
had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I kind of want to go to the warehouse and see if there's another doll in there.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
There is one over there. I'm looking right at it. But I can't jump. Oh, darn it. Okay. Wait, what's this? Oh. Oh. Okay, that's new. Hey, new collectible.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one. And then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
Alrighty then. That's cool. Now, how the heck do I get down from here? Is there a safe way down? I don't know. Oh, wait. There's a safe way up. The vent. It's a shame I can't duck because I can't tell what's written on that. Looks like a couple people. Wait. I thought that was a couple people dancing, but now it kind of looks like a boxer and a ref. Well, this is new. Cassette tapes. What's this?
Okay, this is day number 295, tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
So that just got really dark really quick, and I have no idea what that was, but that was insane. Yeah, that got really dark really quick. Oh, wow.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Shoot. I don't know. Alright, we'll take the bucket again. Reluctantly.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest, and this was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
Yeah.
Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
I'm really curious. Like, we found the last bobblehead over there. I'm pretty sure I jumped over there.
Good.
Let's try
said the
jumping off
bucket.
again.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley
We'll go
did not
that way.
question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have
If nothing's
alarmed him,
here,
of course, but Stanley feared that any
never
path
mind.
he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his
Whoops.
dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching. How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
What? What the hell?
Ah, the embrace of an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test of time. Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
Most likely. Or maybe Stanley never had any co-workers to begin with. Okay.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Trust the completionist instinct. That was a weird shift in the music. Some were both red and blue. Okay, that's the last clue.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
The door open this time. There's nothing in here, though.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes,
I just remembered
this
it.
is certainly the most logical explanation.
Okay. We'll play nice.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Oh. Okay. Wait, was this intentional? Because... it still drops me down. I think that might actually just be a way to jump off. But I don't... Oh, why not? I mean, if you're gonna let me climb up on top of this desk, and then on top of the gate behind the desk, you must want me to jump off of this thing, right? Well...
But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now, What to do next, Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps.
Cool.
After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of
Where'd the TV come
kitchenette
from?
that was
What the heck?
useful for when the bucket was craving paninis. But it wasn't
Paninis?
until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The
What
bucket
the
tried to
hell?
reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense.
Maybe I do, maybe I
It was
don't.
simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually.
What?
It's what the bucket was counting on.
Ugh.
The two of them waited for a very long time.
Ugh. That was an ending. Okay. Okay. Alright.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oh. So I only need one more. Oh, sweet. I'm on top of the thing now. Can I get out?
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Oh, hey, yes.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
Oh, here we go.
There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley
What?
liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function.
Oh my
Which
god.
is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you
Oh.
are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable.
Oh my goodness.
You too will become quite unbearable.
That was cute. You're not gonna do it again, are you? Okay. Okay. Alright. We'll go back. And skipping ahead. Alright. Is that phone ringing? Not there.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you verify that this is correct?
Yeah?
Excellent. Your order will arrive shortly. Thank you again for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
Didn't actually hear me? Okay. Alright, Bucket.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Okay, why not? Let's do this. So sinister.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Who knows at this point. Okay, we won't jump off.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
All right.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Oh. Well, everything's offline. I don't know what to do.
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an...
Yep, turn it off.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was
Yeah,
Stanley and the
door
bucket
stop?
not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth.
Are you serious?
Would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket.
Oh
To be
my
trapped
God.
eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley
Are you
thought
serious?
to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Well, that sucked. Oh, wait. Oh my goodness. I'm in button heaven. Wow. Okay. And I guess there's no exit. Still. Oh, Lord. Okay. Well, anyway, we're gonna leave off here. We made it to heaven. How about that? Ooh. And this screen looks like hell. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll come back to this real soon. I'll see you in the next one.